everybody's got their tax notices, and let's just start by reminding everybody what they see on those tax notices, because you hear people complaining about taxes, but it's not as simple as just taxes.
Well, you just had a reassessment year, and by state law, you have to do it approximately every 5 years. So that's what happened. This year, for the first time, they sent out your tax notices and your assessment notices together. But that is something that by state law you have to do, and the county cannot achieve a windfall from that. So sometimes people think that, whoa, these things went up, the county got richer. No, we cannot achieve a windfall on reassessment. So that's where it is. So we're not responsible for tax increases. So because council hasn't raised taxes in 13 years, so we didn't receive a windfall.
So when they see that, though, they don't realize it's everything lumped in. They don't realize a big hunk of that is school.
Well, you should always look at your tax notice. Just because you should look at your tax notice, you should look at your assessment notice. And that little pie chart tells you pretty much everything where your money's going. And the county's not a very large part of that. But even though we're not the largest part of it, we have to remain frugal and make sure the taxpayers get good value for their money. And that's what our council does.
We're about halfway through a budget year. Has inflation had any impact on the county budget so far?
It has in some areas on gasoline purchases and things like that, but we've been able to weather the storm pretty well so far.
And we've been some announcements coming out since September, but I've noticed sort of a trend that at least the last few companies seem to be, including one the other night where the council gave the final okay to that group making chocolate healthier.
Yep.
Then the company in Pendleton recently received a regional award for creating an oil that's biodegradable.
Yep.
Is innovation sort of high on y'all's list of trying to bring people in here?
Absolutely. That's why, we have the old TTI building, which we call 1428 on the bypass, and we have space in there for companies to do innovative projects. We have a company out there now, and they are digitizing medical records for veterans, so a veteran can go from Ohio to South Carolina to Wisconsin, and their records will go with them, which improves their odds of being treated appropriately, and you don't have to go call somebody or do things like that. I mean, that company right now is using space in our incubator area to get up, and we have another company that's looking to come in, and we have several out there now, but that's what that space is for. Soft landing zone primarily for manufacturing, want to start off their manufacturing and get ahead. An incubator to help businesses learn and grow and expand until they can get on their own 2 feet and get their own place. And the ones we have out there now are doing really well.
That getting the old Singer building turned out to be a really big piece in the county's future, didn't it?
Well, that was part and parcel of our deal to keep TTI/Ryobi here in Anderson County and them not going to Atlanta or Charlotte. But they had that building, and they didn't. As a matter of fact, they had 2 buildings, Greg, if you remember. Not only did we get the building at 1428 Pyramid Dairy Road, we got the old Singer plant/Ryobi plant in Pickens, South Carolina. And plus we got $1 million in grant money to fix up the old TTI building. So we were a large property owner in Pickens County for a while, but then we were able to sell that building at a profit because we had nothing in it, and now it's a big Pickens indoor flea market. And so that building got repurposed in downtown Pickens, well, not downtown Pickens, but in the city of Pickens. And so we now have a large portion of the Sheriff's Department at that building. We have roads and bridges, public works, solid waste, business incubator, soft landing zone. We have our brand new automotive shop, which is state of the art, better than anything else in the upstate. We have that there. Now that's in a new building. And you have all of those activities out there, plus Clemson Extension Services moving into there, which is going to make them more compatible, and people will have easier access to them because we have a lot of parking there. We also think, as I said last time, that there's a synergy that'll work between Clemson Extension and us, so we're happy about that. Workforce Initiative has moved out there, so that's where our economic development offices are too. So they kind of feed off of each other and bleed into each other. So we have that. We also have part of our IT department out there. that services not only the county, but they also do all of the service for the sheriff's department and just about anybody else in the county. So when we got that building, as I've stated, I said, I don't know what we're going to do with 550,000 square feet. And now I look around and I go, what would we have done if we didn't get that, in essence, gift for that project? And that building's in good shape. The $1 million helped us fix it up some. We've put some more money in it, and I think that's going to serve the county well. If you happen to ride by there, we did some landscaping on the front in the past 3 weeks, and I think that makes it look a little bit better. So we're just trying to make it look nice for the people of Anderson County. We now have the sign out there, so that's turned out real well for us. Plus it's eaten up with conference rooms, and it's just allowing us to do a whole lot of things much more efficient. You know where our old road maintenance department was out near the airport. Well, we're going to clear that off, and that's just going to be in green grass and wildflowers, because one day the airport will need it. One day they will, and there's no reason for us to sell it or put something else out there. Just leave it. I also want to mention, while we're talking about landscaping and cleaning up, that we're doing the 2 entrance signs to Anderson County. We're adding additional landscaping to those. As a matter of fact, while we're talking, both of those signs should have more trees and flowers around them now. And we're also working to get our sign that when you leave Clemson University, because you know Anderson County goes right up to the line, so it's not going to be as big as the other interstate signs, but we're going to have a welcome to Anderson County sign there. And eventually at all the entrances to Anderson County, we're going to have a nice sign that tells you you're in Anderson County, because we're so big, you need to know when you're in Anderson County. So that's just an aside.
And signage is something I've been working on anyway, because we still see really old signs, some places tucked off on roads.
Really old signs, and we're dressing those up and make them look better. So that's one of the things that councils ask us to do, to dress up that signage, so we're doing that. And
before we leave that building out there, first of all, people haven't been in it in a long time. It's a huge building, like you said, and y'all still got room to grow out there.
We have room to grow. But another thing that people don't understand, that we have been renting a lot of that warehouse space to private companies. And when we rent that warehouse space, we get a nice piece of change for renting that, which helps defer the cost and upfit of that building. And so since warehouse space is at a premium, we're actually getting money off of that building, which is unusual in a county building where you're getting money for rent.
How about, talking about the budget, how is we've had a couple of years now through it, how is the self-insurance for health care for county employees done in terms of saving money?
One of the best things we can talk about that is that every year when we were on state insurance plan, they would call us, and sometimes at the very last minute when you're doing your budget in June, and said, we're going up 10%, we're going up 5%, we're going to do this. Now we control that. This year the state Blue Cross Blue Shield went up, I think, a very large amount, and we didn't. So we're actually achieving some savings in all of the. Do we have issues with insurance on occasion? Yes. I don't know of any insurance company that doesn't, but it seems to be working much smoother, and our employees like it a great deal. And we have partnerships with physicians where you just go, it's not a per charge visit, or you can keep your own doctor. So that's working out real well. And another thing we added, and employees pay for it, is this year is air ambulance insurance. But that you pay for it, but it's offered. You get a group rate because the county has it. I think about 17% of our employees have signed up for that, because people don't realize if they call the air ambulance that you may be looking at $40,000 or $50,000 bill, and your insurance is not going to cover all of that. So just something to keep in mind.
And tell my family to call the mortuary if they have to. One of the bright spots, we just got some information in, has been the economic impact of tourism. Of course, Green Pond Civic Center, that Bassmaster, $25 million. We talked about before, Dixie Youth Wrestling, Saluda River Rally. How much do such events benefit Anderson County, and how much does the accommodations tax help the budget?
Well, the accommodation tax comes in very handy because it helps us support tourism and recreation activities in Anderson County and allows us to do more and build more. And you know that's going up more and more and more every year, so it allows us to do more, but the more we do, the more tourists we get coming into the county. So it just kind of feeds on itself. So you reinvest that. And they go to our restaurants, they rent our hotel rooms, they rent Airbnbs, all of those things. And when we had the Dixie Youth World Series and things like that, I mean, our restaurants were slammed, and that's a good thing because people are working there, they're getting money, plenty of business, people are making money, so that's what it's about. And then they leave, and we don't send their kids to school, and we don't have to do this, and we don't have to do that, so it works out very well for us.
It's also helped attract more grant money. I know since the last time we met, 3 grants were announced. The $500,000 for the facility on Saluda River, pavilion at Hurricane Spring Park, the Piedmont Riverfront Park, the ramp at Belton Landing. How will those changes really help make life better in those communities?
Well, Dolly Cooper is a community park, but it's also a regional park, and the more we invest in there, more people are going to come across the Greenville and Pickens County line to use that park. That's money for us. That's money for businesses in Powdersville. Hurricane Springs, we just put those pickleball courts over there, and we need to continue improving that area because it's a fast-growing population area. And the landing down in Belton, that is heavily used. It's heavily used for kayakers, but it's heavily used for people fishing and taking advantage of the river. That's kind of like the anchor of the Blue Trail right there. And have to thank our legislative delegation profusely for securing those monies for Anderson County. I know Wes Cox was very instrumental in those, and Senator Mike Gamble and the rest of the delegation, all working together, helped us get those monies. And they will be used to match other grants also, so we can continue to do more things.
And the Piedmont Park has potential for really growing more and more.
Piedmont Park, we really have about $600,000 now. To do the complete build out we want to do is about $1.1 million, and we are looking for other grant avenues to do that. The other thing that we are probably 60% on is the aviation themed children's playground at the airport. We really want that up and running as fast as humanly possible because we just think that will be good. They have playgrounds at other airports and they become destinations, but ours will be aviation themed, and I think in that part of the county that will be the quickest part for people to get to. So we're trying to make that reality as soon as possible. Council's still working to complete Kid Venture, which is $1 million plus project, so we have that going on. Plus we have other things that we're doing. Council the other night, you know, the East-West Parkway is getting near completion. So that turn going into the Civic Center, Council voted to give us the money to make that turn into the Civic Center, and it's going to be a process to bring it down over time. We've also done some upgrades on the cricket field because that continues to grow and grow and grow as a destination too. A lot of people from the southeast are coming there, so we've got more work to do there. We've just got more work to do everywhere, and the more we do, the more it gets used, and the more people want more. But that's what people want, quality of life.
And that trail is that trail from the YMCA all the way to Civic Center. Both ends of it are already getting used and they're not even completely finished, but they're getting used tremendously. I was surprised how fast people are walking on a track that's not even completely
I know, but I mean,
connected.
but it's a wonderful trail, and people use it all the time, and I'm glad that we don't have any development on it because it's beautiful, and one day that's going to be really probably in the center of the city. But you're going to have that there. It's like when they were thinking about, we build this thing called Central Park. Yeah, it might be a good idea. Oh, that's not a good idea. And now what do? Zillions of people go there every year. I went to Central Park. Same thing.
And we're not gonna get into this because we talk about it all the time, but that trail will eventually, hopefully, connect all over the county.
The city has a very ambitious trail program, which I think is wonderful. And when that comes into fruition, I think it's going to be beautiful. You'll be able to walk. You know that we're exploring the possibility and have received $250,000 from Duke Energy for the trail between really Anderson University and Belton. And so we're going to see how that works out, but at least there's enough money right now to do a good feasibility study and to do some additional work to see how it is, get public opinion, and examine what's the economic impact of that trail. Is it going to be a positive? So we have money to do that now thanks to a grant from Duke Energy. So we have that going on.
A little closer into town, it seems that one of the indicators that I've noticed that there's a lot of new growth taking place in County Council District 2 with a new grocery store, continued improvements out at Wellington, a new manufacturer's located there. What's the impetus behind all this growth that's suddenly happening in District 2?
Well, there are a lot of plants down there, and there are a lot of people there. You know, they're building those new apartments down there, and people say, well, those are rent controlled. No, they're not. Those are private investors putting money in there. We have a lack of places for people to live in Anderson County. So those are under construction. They just opened a new restaurant in the Homeland Park area, Bob's Italian, which is seems to be going well. You've got the new Latin grocery store that's going down there, and you're seeing other things happening down there, and you're going to see more of that. You're going to see that to continue to progress. This morning, we were in the ore mill area where we were tearing down houses this morning. So we went out there to check on that and look at that. And I mean, we tore down, there's one on the ground now gone, and we have probably about 10 more that we're going to take down there. And that helps that area to remove those distressed and dilapidated houses. We're going to take those lots, those that we control, and try to get people interested in building new houses down there. And there's some new houses down there. So we've got to keep promoting that, but we've got to do it cost effective, no burden to the taxpayers, but it improves property values, it improves quality of life, and that's important. We're going to keep doing that.
But it does seem like it's accelerated.
It has accelerated, and people are noticing it. But even in Belton, last week, 200 new homes, another subdivision going in Belton, they're going to annex into the city. You're getting growth spread out around the county. But if you also realize we still have so much green space in the county that will never be developed, and we don't want it developed because we have the best of both worlds. As many plants as we can locate in one area and not have them spread out everywhere, the better off we are as a county. But you can still ride in some parts of this county and they look like they did 100 years ago, and that's not a bad thing.
Another announcement that was finally set things in motion was the establishment of the new mental health court in Anderson. When will that be up and running?
We have approximately a year to get everything in place. I know that there was a meeting yesterday with Judge Cordell Maddox, and he signed off on it, and then mental health has to sign off on it, and the solicitor has to sign off on it, and the county naturally is going to sign off on it. With the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee, this is another solid achievement that they have done. This mental health / veterans court is going to be in operation. The jail that's being designed right now, that's another benefit from them. That's why council established the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee to get citizens to look at this and stakeholders to say what are the things we can do to keep people out of jail, to help people get better, build a jail so we don't have them coming back, put features in there so we can train people in jobs and things like that. It's all of a set piece. It's not a one-off here and a one-off here. We're also looking for a place, the CJCC is, for a crisis intervention center, which we've talked many times in the past, so that we don't send people to the ANMED waiting room or we take them to jail, that there's a place they can go. And maybe you don't need to be in jail. More than likely you don't. You're having a mental health crisis and you need some place to go to get stabilized and hooked up on a path to achieving a better mental situation. So all of that's coming out of the CJCC.
Is that, so within a year we're going to really start seeing that on the ground and people
Yes.
utilize it?
Yes.
Talking to the folks who run most of Anderson's major charitable organizations, they say demand is at an all-time high. And I know Anderson County, particularly County Council over the years, has often used discretionary funding to help some of these organizations. And without exception, the leaders of these groups say the county's always been supportive. I've always wanted to, I've noticed that when you and I talk about it, you want to make sure as much as possible, everything y'all do, that all citizens are included. You mentioned Kid Venture a while ago, so it was great pleasure. Why is that so important to absolutely make sure even the so-called least of these are included?
Well, A's in the Bible for one thing, and we try to use that as a guide on a lot of things we do. It's a pretty good guidebook, and I mean, that's just the council is. But I mean, you think about this. These charitable organizations receive money from citizens and from philanthropic granting organizations and things like that. Well, if the council can provide a little money or a seed money to help them do this, that helps everybody in the county. That helps some of these people who don't have a place to live find a place to live, help them to become productive, happy, safe citizens, not living in the street, not having nothing to eat, things like that. It just makes sense. Just a little bit of money sometimes is all it takes is to make a whole lot of money appear for one of these philanthropic institutions. We were able to work with AIM on the rental assistance program, which was good for AIM. It was good for us. We don't know anything about how to do that, but AIM was already set up and they knew how to do that. And so we work with partners who can help us. If they're going to throw money out, then we need to catch it and put it where it will do the most good. And so that's what we do. That's council's philosophy.
And Hope Missions has helped keep a lot of people off the streets,
Oh,
and
well,
they've got a warming center.
But we have a warming center. Like last night, it got down around 28 degrees. And so we have a warming center there, and we help them. And they get a lot of private donations, and they get a lot of help from a lot of wonderful people and a lot of churches. But we can help them to some degree, and so we help them. We also have a group that provides a Christmas meal, Christmas Day, at the farmer's market. And they don't check anything. You just come there and you'll get a really nice Christmas meal. Mr. Merriweather, who works for the county, his church and his church group puts that on, and they work 2 or 3 days to put that together. Council gives them a little bit of money to help them. They raise other money. But anybody on Christmas Day who doesn't have anything to eat, you could be the richest person in town, you could be the poorest person in town. They don't ask. You come by there, they will feed you, and they'll feed you really good too.
I don't think I've ever asked you this before, but speaking of that, is that a factor when companies are looking to move here, how they treat everybody, how they treat folks that are struggling?
Well, you don't want to go to a place where there's no love, charity, and hope and optimism around. You just don't want to do that.
A lot of places like that, though.
Well, there are, but you're going to be hiring people. Look, a lot of these people who work at these companies and our small businesses and everything else, these are the people that are running those nonprofits. They're the ones giving most of the money. They're doing the heavy lifting. So, yeah, they like it. I mean, one of the biggest trail advocates works at TTI. He doesn't get paid to be all involved in trails, but he is certainly a wonderful ambassador for trails. And, yeah, they want to see these things. People want to see these things. People like nice people. And everybody always tells you when they move here, well, everybody here is so nice. Well, you know that's because everybody here is so nice.
I know one of your longtime pet projects has been Paws, which has seen a huge influx in animals this year, and they need volunteers and people to adopt. Their fall festival is a huge success. I saw you out there.
Yep.
Any updates on the Paws and maybe the park? How's it getting used like as expected?
Park's getting used more than we expected, which is a wonderful problem to have. They're doing a great job. People don't understand what all they do. And sometimes people get frustrated, but we are blessed to have that. We're blessed to have Dr. Sanders, Randy Lee, all of those people out there. We're blessed to have those people who care about that, but they're also professional and have the knowledge to do it. And, I mean, we receive contributions every month, $2,000, $3,000 every month. And we do our best to help you keep your pets. I mean, if you lose your job and you can hardly pay your rent, and you're going to have to put Fluffy at the animal shelter, well, we will help you over that rough part because we get donations to do that. And we provide all kinds of medical care. And never forget that we also support the Humane Society with their low-cost spay and neuter clinic. Council does that. So you're not going to find too many places in the United States who does as much as our county council does for animals, because they're all animal lovers. And they understand that you got to take care of the least of us. And I also want to give a tip to the Anderson County Animal Control officers. Those people are jam up. They do a wonderful job. They show compassion, and they are professional. That's an arm of the Sheriff's Department, but those people are really dynamic, and they are good. And you don't usually see that, but they are professional, they're good, and they try to help animals.
And next door to Paul's is that small house subdivision's come pretty close to completion. Seems like a long time ago that was approved. Remind people about that complex and the goals of it.
Well, it's a tiny home complex, and the rent's $900 a month off the top of my head, and it's ideal for a person getting started or maybe somebody who wants to downsize. It looks really, really nice, and if you have a chance to ride down there, you'll see that for yourself. So we expect that to turn into something very nice. And people say, well, they're flimsy. No, they're not flimsy. They have to meet very strict standards on what they look like, and they look really good.
Is that a model maybe for helping some of this housing crisis we've got?
But it's a model all over this country. It's a model. They're doing this everywhere. They're doing it in Greenville. They're doing it in Pickens. They're doing in some places. Columbia is now doing something for their homeless people, and they've got this company out on the West Coast. They make these little self-contained one-person cabins, and it's really like a quarter of a tiny house, but it provides a place to go, be safe, and get out of the elements. So you're going to see more and more of this trend continuing, and you're going to see more and more shipping containers turned into houses.
Is there anything else the county can do to help protect both the integrity of housing and also encouraging new development for housing?
Well, our council's done a whole lot of stuff on land use, and they had already done a whole lot of stuff on land use before the boom took place. But yeah, they're tightening it up. There'll be a Planning and Public Works meeting here at 10 o'clock Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, and they'll be looking at things that they can further make sure that you get the quality you need, that you don't put water on somebody, and things like that. So that's always something that you're always tweaking and working on.
It looks like a long, cold winter, which could be hard on the roads. Any updates on road work? And remind people how seasonal road work is.
Well, this time of the year when it's cold, you don't put asphalt down. You can't. It won't stay. So we're out of the paving season. We are working with the Anderson County Transportation Committee. They get millions of dollars every year, but this year they're getting a one-time shot of $8 million. And so we put in lists for numerous roads to be repaired on that. So we're looking forward to another very productive paving season when the weather turns good. So that's where we are on that.
And I know y'all have monitored this very closely, and it's been a year and a couple of months now. What's the latest evaluation on countywide EMS system?
We had a meeting on that this morning. I think it's working wonderfully well. Our EMS paramedic system is working. I think it is the envy of the state. We do not hunt people, paramedics. Now, you know there are three classifications, EMTs, EMT in essence 2, and paramedics. And we've got 45 paramedics scattered all across this county who will be with you in under 9 minutes and 50 seconds. And so far, we're hitting about 95% on that. Now, these are the people who get there, stabilize you, call the ambulance. The ambulance is primarily a transport vehicle. And if you need the paramedic to ride with you to the hospital, they will. So it's been working wonderfully well, and I get very few complaints. And I think it's only going to get better. We had the people from Berkeley last week call up and said, what are y'all doing? Well, we want to come up there and find out what y'all are doing. And we're seeing more and more of that because people can't get emergency medical assistance, and we're blessed to have it completely filled with the cream of the crop.
The storied Elephant Pen Park, which I'm hoping gets a gate and an entrance and all, on the historic courthouse area behind, has been a hit since grass has taken root. Is any updates? Anybody proposing now to do something? Or
everything right now, we're just going to let the beautiful green grass grow, and maybe someday somebody will come up with something that will be prettier than the beautiful green grass, but they're not on the horizon right now. But everybody seems to enjoy that very much, and it's just going to be a beautiful, it's the Great Lawn. And I was teasing Councilman John Wright the other day that now, since that was such a hit, we were going to have to take his building and all the buildings between here and Anderson University, and you know there's the National Mall. Well, we were going to have the Great Mall of Anderson County that goes all the way to AU.
That would be something.
It would.
Any plans to have county events on that site? Maybe even a pop-up farmer's market at some point? Or
that's a possibility, but right now we don't want anybody on it until the grass takes good hold.
But by spring that should be.
Yeah, but we've already been, Soiree's already reached out, and they want to use it, and naturally we want them to use it, but we want that grass to get in there good and nice, because when it greens up this summer, it's going to be beautiful.
Well, speaking of seasons, we finally are making it into the most wonderful time of the year. We got the wreaths going up on the courthouse. The tree is up, and the unofficial lighting is tonight for Thanksgiving week, despite...
Not tonight. Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. No, Thanksgiving's next Thursday, but,
Yeah.
but you light it up for...
We will light it up 5 o'clock next Thursday.
Oh, Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, last year we did it the Friday before, didn't we?
Yeah, we're going to light next Thursday at 5 o'clock. We're going to light it up.
Unofficial Thanksgiving lighting.
Unofficial, it's not really lit, but it is lit.
Right, right. Even though the Grinch tried to kill our buzz a little bit with the supply chain, so it stunted the tree's growth a little bit this year.
It's still 35 feet in change, so it's just a hair taller, but that's been rectified.
So next year the electric fertilizer should... Any other supply chain issues that the county's facing? I thought...
We have a lot of vehicles, sheriff's department vehicles, road maintenance vehicles, and yes, we have issues getting parts, and that really slows us up because there's still supply chain issues with automotive supplies. So yes, that is the thing, and a lot of metal things you have issues with trying to get. And so, but it hasn't killed us, and hopefully it's going to smooth out even more, but it has been a problem.
Okay, back to important stuff. When will you start playing holiday music from the clock tower?
That Thursday at 5 o'clock.
And this is going to go on
Yes.
from there through Christmas, right?
Yes.
About the traditional lighting of the Santa and the administrator's window, when will that take place?
5 o'clock Thursday.
Okay.
Next Thursday.
That's the big, Thanksgiving Thursday is the big deal then.
Yep.
Is there going to be any kind of ceremony for that, or it's just...
No, it's never me just pulling him out and plugging him in.
And so the official tree lighting will be the second, I guess.
And it's going to be different. It's going to have some new wrinkles in it, and I think it's going to be a really big hit.
And around the county, we got parades, Christmas tree lightings.
You've got Christmas
other
tree lightings
events.
in all the towns. You've got parades. And December 2nd, when the county Christmas tree is lit, yes, the Pelzer Light people will be making a return appearance, and we're very excited about that. And I think you're going to see some new wrinkles in it that's going to make it last a little bit longer and be a little more jolly and fun, and hope everybody comes out.
Yeah, the Pelzer people and I are getting together. She said they've got some new stuff too. It also kicks off next with the Thursday, but then on Friday, Piedmont's first Winterfest with all their new lights.
Yep.
And then that Sunday.
And that's a big deal in Piedmont.
It is a big deal.
It is a huge deal in Piedmont. They're going to have lights and everything, and that's going to be wonderful.
And twice the number of lights they thought they were going to have.
Twice the number, yes.
I've been over there. It looks pretty good. And then for the first time that Sunday is the full day of holiday events in Williamston.
Yep.
Their Christmas on the snow. They're going to bring snow in, and they're going to have the parade and everything.
And that will be something to see. People should really avail themselves.
That'd be a good
around.
holiday Sunday. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And years ago, it had to be the late '60s, early '70s, because I found back when we used to hang out in the old Chicola when it was abandoned, a giant box of pins that said Anderson, South Carolina, Christmas City, USA, with poinsettia on it. You ever seen those?
No.
I don't know where that campaign failed, but I wonder if we could bring that back, Christmas City, USA. That would be.
You need to go find one of those buttons.
I've got one somewhere, but. In any case, I know council's encouraging citizens to shop locally again.
Absolutely. Your dollars do more when they stay here. They'll travel around and bounce from store to store, restaurant to restaurant, and into people's pockets, and that's what we like.
Anything else going on between now and the middle of December when we get back together?
Just working on some economic development projects. That never stops. So we'll be moving forward with some of those.
Any announcements in December, or do they usually wait?
No. You always want to kick that off in January, so that's when we'll have a couple of things come up there. But we've got activity, different activity. A lot of things that we have announced are now either under construction or they're completing construction, and they're going to begin hiring. So if you just ride around, you're going to see something being built somewhere just about every second. And more houses.